Ashley last talked, more festivals and events have been announced. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Hi everyone, welcome back to Aura Life. I'm Ashley. I'm a rave mom and mom in real life, and I create content around self-care, bucket lists, raves and festivals, and today we're gonna talk about some more lineups that have dropped. I mean, they've dropped all over the country, but of course we're gonna talk about the major ones that have dropped here in Chicago. So before we dive right in, first off, I have to shout out Female Ravers United. I got my shirt on. If you guys are looking for a little merch, make sure you drop over to either the Facebook group or their Instagram, fill out the form, get your shirt. This thing is so comfy. It's really cute, form-fitting, made of cotton. It's one of my favorite things, so just had to shout them out. Also, if you're looking to connect with other female ravers out there, if you're a female raver, make sure that you join the group. There's such a great group of women. They have people from all across the country. There's meetups, friendships to be had, so make sure that you pop on over there. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into these lineups. So the first lineup that I wanted to shout out was Spring Awakening. If you're new to my channel and you haven't gotten a chance to check out some of my other videos, Spring Awakening I consider to be my home festival. I've been to that festival probably the most out of all the other festivals that I've been to. This year, if I do go, I think it would be like my it would be my fourth year going. I have to think back because I went in 2016, 2018, and 2019. So I've been 3 years. This will be my fourth year going. And you know, they've been pretty radio silent since the pandemic. They did do a Spring Awakening kind of excursion, which a lot of these festivals are doing. Like I think Electric Zoo did something similar where it's gonna be in Cancun. It's all inclusive. But for me, just with things being so uncertain, I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna pass on that. I figured that I probably wouldn't make it back to Spring Awakening until 2021. And then Papa Spring he just surprised me and posted that they are gonna be doing an Autumn Equinox, which I'm so for it. Like, I love this concept. I think it's so creative and I think it should be fun. Now, one thing to note that I noticed, well, there's two things. Before I dive into the lineup, which is the other thing that I noticed, the first thing is it looks like they reduced the days from 3 to 2. So typically Spring Awakening runs a long weekend. It's usually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This time it's only 2 days. And I'm assuming just because, you know, it's a kind of weird year, we're trying to get back into things, the lineup may not be, you know, as good as previous years in terms of the quantity of artists that they're able to bring in, just because we still are under travel restrictions. So I'm pretty sure that they have to keep that in mind. But all in all, I am really happy about the lineup. Now, one thing before I jump into this lineup that was apparently clear is that there are no, from what I can see, there's not a lot of trance music representation, that genre, which kind of took me by surprise, to be honest with you, because typically they do have trance music in the lineup. Like typically there is a stage called the Hangar, and that's kind of where a lot of the trance artists go on. I think the last year that I went in 2019, they did kind of a Juna takeover. If I have a clip, I'll put that up here. It's fun. I had a good time there. And so I feel like you're gonna be missing that vibe. Now this lineup definitely has your drum and bass, a lot of bass music, and it has house, which obviously Chicago is the home of house music. I would expect nothing less. And I'm a house head, so I love house music, but I do like to, like, every now and then hear some trance and kind of chill out and vibe. And so I do feel like that's gonna be missing this year, but I hope that in 2021 they bring that back. So that's just my initial take on this. Also is that they're back downtown. So if you've seen any of my other vlogs, the last location that they went to was in Huffman Estates, and I think I've mentioned to you guys in videos on here before, that they're kind of sporadic. They kind of can't settle down in terms of the location, so they've kind of been all over the city. Huffman Estates, while it had a lot of space, was kind of in the boondocks and sometimes hard to get to, and it was especially problematic if they wanted to do after shows because it was so far out. Before COVID hit, they actually announced Spring Awakening would be held in Union Park, and there was a lot of back and forth and kind of polarizing views around that. Because it is a smaller venue and Spring Awakening is of a bigger size, they felt like a lot of people felt like there wasn't enough room. So now they're actually going back to Addams Medill Park, which is in Pilsen area. There's a lot more space, I think, than there is in Union Park. Arc Festival, for instance, is going to be in Union Park, but I think that's okay because Arc Festival is a new festival, so it's going to be probably smaller capacity because they're just now starting out. Spring Awakening needs a little bit more space. There's multiple stages, like I think there's like 4 or 5 stages depending. So they're gonna need that space. I liked that venue. I think it was great. It had plenty of space, as I mentioned. I didn't really experience that much in terms of sound bleed. They had all the food trucks set up. There's plenty of space to like distance yourself if you need to. My only complaint about Addams Medill Park is that there is a sound curfew, so I think there's like a ordinance or neighborhood ordinance in which they have to end at 10 p.m. So I remember the last time that we were there in 2018 and I saw Tiesto, and then all of a sudden he just, like, it's like they cut him off. Like the end of his set was such a letdown. Like there was no end to it. It was just like da-da-da, and then they like cut it off. It was so weird, and it was really awkward because it was some of my friends' first time seeing him. So they were like, is this how he always ends his sets? Like, is this how he always is? And I'm like, no, like this is not him. I don't know what that was. So that's a letdown. But because this lineup does seem kind of smaller, and you'll see, I'll start to put up the screenshot of it here. I think that the time is going to be fine. And Spring Awakening is more so known for a daytime festival, or as a daytime festival, or afternoon, whatever you want to call it. It's not an evening festival like an EDC Las Vegas or, you know, some of those others out there. So I digress. So first thing is that the dates are October 2nd through the 3rd. Whew, you guys, like if we end up going, my schedule's gonna be insane. Like it's insane. I might do a separate video about my schedule, but all of these events back to back to back, it's gonna be a lot, but I'm excited. I mean, I think after a year and a half of not having anything, I think that we all are just eager to get out there. So anyways, October 2nd through the 3rd at Addams Medill Park. Okay, so things that stood out to me, like I said, the first thing is that there's a lot of drum and bass on here. So for my headbangers out there, I know that you're gonna be excited. I'm just gonna skim over and focus on the names that I'm excited about. You're gonna know that it's gonna be more house oriented, but I can also put in the description box down below some of the bass artists that I think that a lot of people will be excited about. So the first one that really popped out to me was Chris Lorenzo. So Chris Lorenzo, I know him more so like being connected to Chris Lake, and I love Chris Lake's style. And I've actually been wanting to see Chris Lorenzo for a really long time, so I think this is great. His sound and his vibe is very similar to Chris Lake's, in my opinion. Like, it's a similar kind of housey vibe, and I'm so excited to see him because he's kind of been on my list. Dylan Francis was at Spring Awakening in 2019. He's a good time. I think he actually, his set was before Zed's on the first day of 2019. If I have a clip, I'll add it here. Had a ball with him. He's always a good time. He's one of those sets that you know you're gonna have like so much high energy and just a feel-good moment. Diplo is there. I've seen Diplo before, and I feel like his sets sometimes are hit or miss, but I feel like Diplo has been leaning more so on the house side as of late. Like, a lot of his new releases I've really been into in terms of the style of music, so I would actually be interested to see him, to see if his vibe has changed. I saw him at EDC Las Vegas 2019, and I was kind of let down. It was towards the tail end of the night, so I could have just been crabby and tired, but it was okay. But was it a set that like I was enthusiastic about? Not necessarily, but the music that he's coming out with now more so aligns with my vibe, so I would be interested to see that set. Don Diablo. I still haven't seen Don Diablo, but Don Diablo is one of my mom's favorite artists. Like, she loves him so much. And yes, if you don't already know, my mom comes to shows with me. So when I sent her this lineup, she was more so excited about him. I just love his like futuristic house vibe. Like, Right Here, Right Now is still a staple song that I'll listen to. Like, it never gets old for me. And his vibe is just like cool. Like, you know, it's just like when I listen to his music, I feel like I'm listening to the future. That's kind of like the vibe that I get from him. I love me a Galantis set. It's, again, similar to Dylan Francis, like it's a good time. With Galantis, I saw them in 2019 too, so they're at Spring Awakening. So some of the names on here are gonna be like a good throwback to 2019, which I think is really interesting. I've heard amazing things about Valentino Khan. They're doing, it's a 4B back-to-back Valentino Khan, which I know would probably be more bass oriented, but I would just be interested to see him anyway. Keizo's on here. Madeline, I've heard really good things about. Martin Garrix. So, funny story about Martin Garrix is that he was supposed to be at Spring Awakening 2019, but that was literally, I think it was the weekend right before he got injured in his like I think he was playing his residency in Las Vegas and he got injured. So we ended up getting a surprise Cascade set, which actually I was really happy about because I don't know if you guys know, but there was a huge fiasco obviously at EDC 2019, and that was supposed to be my first live Cascade set. Then he came to Chicago, so it was really like a redemption set for me. But I'm excited to see Martin Garrix back. Like, I love him. His quarantine sets, there was one that he did. It was like earlier on in the pandemic. Had to have been in like May or April, and wow, like that's a memorable moment. Like in 2020, I remember that set. Out of all of the live streams that I've seen, I remember that one. It was that good. I think it was in May. It was so good. So I'm just excited to see him live again. I've seen him a couple of times. I think, let's see, I saw him at Spring Awakening 2016, and then I went to go see Zed, and he like made like a surprise appearance at Zed's concert. It was for the True Colors tour. That was amazing. So I feel like Martin Garrix is like a must-see set. Like you just have to see him. Let's see, what else stood out to me? MK, I still haven't seen MK, but the vibes. I cannot wait for that set. He's been on my list for a long time, at the top of my list, and I just feel like that would be a good vibe. I just love all his music. To be honest with you, I can't even think of like one specific song. Sam Felt, I believe too, is a house DJ, and I've heard really good things about him. Side Piece is, again, like, I feel like there's like Side Piece, Dylan Francis, Galantis, like all of these are like really feel good party sets that you're gonna have a really good time. And I don't know about you guys, but after the pandemic, like I kind of need this like energy, like we need that energy. Sophie Tucker, my queen, like love her house music, so I would definitely check her out. It would be my first live set of hers. I haven't seen her live yet, so I would be interested in seeing her set. Vice Tone stood out to me too. I feel like I have some of their music on like my Spotify. I don't know if you guys know this song. It's like a classic. So I would definitely go hear them. Let's see. This one is my favorite. All in all, those are the ones that stood out to me. What I like about this lineup, to be honest with you, if I were to just give you like a quick synopsis, I would give this lineup definitely a 4 out of 5. Not like shocking, like, oh my gosh, I can't miss this lineup, but I feel like this is a lineup, this is pretty solid, especially on a year like this. For a 2-day festival, you get a good variety. I feel like it's missing trance. I also feel like there's a lot of people on here that I listen to that I like have been wanting to see, but I just haven't, for whatever reason, been able to see them. So to me, that's exciting because I can get some new experiences. So all in all, I really am interested in going to this festival. I'm kind of holding out to see how much single day tickets are gonna cost compared to the 2-day tickets. So I'm gonna hold off from purchasing now. And I'm also gonna wait to see kind of what each day, like how each day stacks up, because if there's one day that's more heavy on bass, then I might choose the day that's more heavy on house. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm excited about this, and it's gonna be a good weekend. It's gonna be great to kind of be back with my Spring Awakening fam. Because I feel like Spring Awakening does have like a loyal following, people who go there every year. So good job, Spring Awakening. I'm proud of you, boo. So who are you excited to see at Spring Awakening? I really want to hear what stood out to you the most in this lineup. Make sure you comment that down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you liked the video, make sure you click that subscribe button to get more content around Chicago festivals from me. And make sure you click that little bell to get notified when new videos post. I love you guys so much, and as I always say, positive self, positive wealth. Bye.